To the details now, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken visited an aid inspection point in Israel during his 7th visit to Israel since October 7th attack. The U.S. Secretary of State, along with Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, visited the Kerem Shalom aid crossing and got the first up-close view of the Gaza Strip. Later, talking to media, Blinken said that progress on improving humanitarian access to Gaza was real, but given the immense need in Gaza, it needed to be accelerated.
We have seen in recent weeks real, meaningful progress that is starting to make a difference for people in Gaza. Yesterday we were in Jordan. Some of you saw the trucks being loaded in Jordan. They went through Erez for the first time today, and that's very important because that's direct access to the north of Gaza.
Well, Blinken also told reporters that Israel has made important compromises over a proposal for a deal that would see hostages released in exchange for a ceasefire, but it was up to Hamas to take that deal.
Israel has made very important compromises in the proposal that's on the table, demonstrating its desire and willingness to get this agreement and get it done. Now, as we've been saying, it's on Hamas. Hamas has to decide whether it will take this deal and actually advance the situation for the people that it purports to care about in Gaza. There is no time for delay. There's no time for further haggling. The deal is there. They should take it.
Well, the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Wednesday also made a brief stop at Kibbutz Nir Oz in southern Israel, where Hamas terrorists attacked on October 7, killing dozens of residents and kidnapping others. During his visit, accompanied by Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, Blinken went to the heavily damaged home of an American-Israeli family, all of whom, including 5-year-old twins, were killed in the assault. The conflict began when Hamas terrorists attacked Israel on October 7 last year, killing 1,200 people and abducting over 250 others. An Israeli military released a video on Wednesday showing 8 trucks in southern Israel driving through the Erez crossing point into northern Gaza. Israel reopened the Erez crossing into Gaza on Wednesday following U.S. demands to do more to address the growing humanitarian crisis in the enclave. The Erez crossing was destroyed during the Hamas attacks on October 7th and then remained closed. Israel announced it would reopen the crossing last month, a few days after Israeli airstrikes killed humanitarian workers delivering food aid in Gaza. The Israeli government reopened the additional crossing point on the same day that U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, where he urged more aid deliveries into the territory. And moving on, it was a day of contrast for the abortion rights to women in 2 states of the U.S. Florida's 6-week abortion ban took effect on Wednesday, while Arizona lawmakers repealed a stringent abortion ban that dates to the Civil War era. Florida's new law will be one of the most restrictive in the country and effectively amount to a complete ban. 6 weeks gestation is before many women know they are pregnant. Further, the state still requires 2 in-person visits with the abortion provider 24 hours apart. While in Arizona, a pair of Republican senators joined with all Democrats while voting to repeal a Civil War-era law that would ban almost all abortions with no exceptions for rape or incest, the bill next heads to the governor, who has promised to sign it. And abortion is the top issue in the 2024 U.S. presidential election. Staying with it, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris visited Florida on the same day and sought to blame Republican candidate Donald Trump for the same.
Starting this morning, women in Florida became subject to an abortion ban so extreme it applies before many women even know they are pregnant, which, by the way, tells us the extremists who wrote this ban either don't know how a woman's body works or they simply don't care.
Well, Florida's abortion ban threatens to future of the state's clinics and abortion funds and forcing patients to travel hundreds of thousands of miles to get the procedure done. Both healthcare professionals and people, especially women, emphasize the hardships. They say it is a significant setback for women's rights.
That is a really challenging reality for me, not just as a physician or an abortion provider, but as a person and as a woman and as someone who could become pregnant in the state of Florida.
I feel like it's all bad. I feel like the abortion ban in general, like having it be illegal in the first place, is bad for women, not only women, but young people in the coming generations, because it's like they're not even taking us into consideration and taking other possibilities or other mindsets or opinions into considerations.
I'm pretty disappointed. I think that having an abortion ban in Florida, especially when access to healthcare is already so hard here, just makes it a lot worse. And I think that, honestly, the future holds a lot of deaths.
And campaigning for the U.S. presidential election is well underway, especially in some swing states that are predicted to hold great importance in who will win between likely candidates. Current President Joe Biden and the former President Donald Trump made it to Wisconsin and Michigan on Wednesday for rallies despite ongoing court cases. Biden is off to Delaware on Thursday to talk infrastructure and jobs, and Michigan later this month. Let's take a look at ET India's correspondent Caroline Malone's report from Washington.
Former US President Donald Trump may be mid a major criminal trial in New York, but that didn't stop him from campaigning on Wednesday in other states. He made it to Wisconsin, where he spoke to crowds of supporters to address a number of critical issues to voters. He said it was a, quote, beautiful thing to watch to see New York police officers raiding a Columbia University building that had been occupied by pro-Palestinian students. He's called the protesters raging lunatics and Hamas sympathizers, and he described scenes as New York under siege and praised the officers for arresting about 300 people. Well, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said that the Biden administration is looking into plans to relocate some Palestinian refugees related to US citizens. President Biden is also due to speak next week at the Holocaust Memorial event off the back of criticism he hasn't done enough to stop anti-Semitism at campuses. Well, on abortion issues, Trump said in Wisconsin that he supports his policy of letting states decide where they stand on it. Whereas Vice President Kamala Harris said from Jacksonville, Florida, that another Trump term would mean more suffering for women. That's also likely to be Biden's messaging when he rallies in other states later this month. First, though, he'll go to Wilmington, Delaware, to talk about projects to build better US infrastructure, how that will be good for creating jobs and for the US economy. Caroline Malone, Washington, for DD India.
Well, British authorities have started to detain migrants to be sent to Rwanda in the next 9 to 11 weeks. A law to pave the way for sending asylum seekers to Rwanda was approved by Parliament in April, and Sunak wants the first flights to take off in July. More than 7,500 migrants have arrived in England on small boats from France so far this year. 5 people died trying to make the crossing last week. Human rights charities and unions opposed to the policy are expected to launch fresh legal challenges to stop the flights from taking off after the UK Supreme Court declared the policy unlawful last year. Irish police dismantled about 200 tents housing asylum seekers in Dublin, tackling what has become a focal point for heated debate around migration. Ireland is struggling to accommodate record numbers of refugees while facing a housing shortage. Authorities dismantled illegally constructed migrant tents in Dublin. Barricades remained in place while a Dublin street was stood down on Wednesday after Irish police dismantled about 200 tents that were housing asylum seekers there. And the 2024 London mayoral election is due to be held on 2nd of May to elect the next mayor of London. It will take place simultaneously with elections to the London Assembly. The voting in this election will take place under the first past the post system for the first time, replacing the supplementary vote system. These are 8 other candidates in total. Delhi-born Indian candidate Tarun Gulati to also contest in the London mayoral election. The elected mayor to serve the unit for a period of 4 years. And dozens of Haitian families have found shelter in a Port-au-Prince school turned into a camp as they waited for gang violence to wane off. A temporary presidential council has been installed in Haiti with the mission of bringing peace to the country and to call for elections before 2026 when its term expires. According to UN estimates, more than 1 person was killed in Haiti gang violence every hour in the first 3 months of this year. Haiti has experienced an escalation in gang violence since February. The security situation has displaced thousands and caused catastrophic hunger. And with bare hands and basic tools, desperate families dug through rubble searching for loved ones still missing after devastating floods swept through central Kenya this week, killing at least 48 people. Across Kenya, floods and landslides have killed 181 since March. Authorities have urged Kenyans living in low-lying areas to evacuate as heavier than usual rainfall is expected to persist. President of Kenya has deployed soldiers to aid such efforts, but the heavy machinery have not reached the battered region yet. And let's take a look from news around the world. Ukrainians gathered in Kyiv to paint traditional Ukrainian Easter eggs. More than 800 artists paint traditional Easter eggs to support Ukraine's bid to add the craft to UNESCO's World List of Intangible Cultural Heritage Elements. The United Kingdom gets its first Sikh court to resolve issues. The court will formally open on 1st of June and will deal with cases related to private family matters, community issues of Sikh community in Britain, located in London's Lincoln Inn. A Mexican town marked May Day with the annual Donkey Festival to honor the hardworking animal and maintain the decade-long tradition. The National Donkey Festival is a twist to the Labor Day in the 16th century rural Mexican town of Otamba. The festivities started with a polo game on donkey back and continued with a costume parade, a race and a braying contest to amuse fans from all over the country. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. It will be the first general elections in Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu since becoming a single entity as they vote on the 7th of May. Fed leaves rates unchanged, flags lack of further progress on inflation. And Borussia Dortmund seal a 1-0 victory over Paris at Saint-Germain in their Champions League semi-final first leg.
As India decides in the world's largest election,
we help you feel the pulse of the nation.
I am Sakal Bhatt.
I am Shubhendu Ghosh.
This election season, join us on a journey of India.
We are in Assam. This is the tea city of India.
From down south, Tamil Nadu.
Discover the colors of democracy.
Gateway to northeast of India.
Coastal state of Kerala. Watch Poll Pulse on DT India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lapakshi Khurana, and let's get you the latest in the world's largest democratic election in India now. Well, campaigning has intensified as the third phase of general elections is just 5 days away on the 7th of May. Leaders from various political parties are leaving no stone unturned to appeal voters to come out in large numbers and exercise their franchise. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to hold multiple public rallies in western Indian state of Gujarat, while India's Home Minister and senior BJP leader Amit Shah will address multiple election rallies in North India's Uttar Pradesh. Bharatiya Janata Party National President JP Nadda will also address public meetings in Bihar, Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. While Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath will address public meetings in Uttar Pradesh's Etah and Firozabad, he will also hold a roadshow in Mainpuri. Also, the process of filing nomination papers is underway. Union Minister Dharmendra Pradhan will file nomination from Odisha's Sambalpur Lok Sabha seat on Thursday. BJP candidate from West Delhi, Kamaljeet Sehrewal, will also file her nomination papers for the 25th May polls. Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi will address public meetings in Chirimiri and Korba district of Chhattisgarh. And Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge will address a public rally in Karnataka's Shimoga on Thursday. Congress leader Sachin Pilot will address public rallies in Chhattisgarh, Sarangarh, Simartal village and Bilaspur in Chhattisgarh. Also, Rashtriya Janata Dal Tejaswi Yadav will hold election campaign in Uttar Pradesh's Hasanpur, Bihar Samastipur and Araria. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's wife Sunita Kejriwal will address public meetings in Gujarat's Bharuch and Bhavnagar. The Election Commission banned former Telangana Chief Minister and BRS Chief K. Chandrasekhar Rao from campaigning for 48 hours. He was banned for making derogatory and objectionable statements against Congress. In a complaint filed with the ECI, TPCC Senior Vice President G. Niranjan claimed that Chandrasekhar Rao had disparaged and offended Congress lawmakers at a news conference in Sirikila. The comments were deemed by the ECI to be unverified accusations and derogatory remarks that could damage the opposition party's reputation and interfere with the fairness of the current electoral process. The poll authority indicated that if Rao does not respond within time, the Election Commission will take appropriate action against him. And created after the merger of two former union territories, it will be the first general election in which Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu will be voting since becoming a single entity. Located in western India, the Union Territory of Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu was created after the merger of two former UTs of Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu in 2020. The Union Territory comprises four separate districts, Dadra, Nagar Haveli and the island of Diu. Once ruled by the Portuguese, the UT is a blend of history and natural beauty. Spread over an area of over 600 square kilometers, Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu is a well-known tourist destination. Its current capital is Daman, while Silvassa is its largest city. In the 2024 general elections, the Union Territory, which has two seats in the Lok Sabha, the lower house of the Indian Parliament, is going to polls in a single phase on May 7th. The UT has more than 400,000 voters. Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu is being governed by an administrator appointed by the central government. Prominent parties in the fray are the Bharatiya Janata Party, Shiv Sena and the Indian National Congress. In the 2019 general elections, the lone Lok Sabha seat in Dadra and Nagar Haveli was backed by the Shiv Sena, while the single seat in Daman and Diu was backed by BJP. The 2024 general elections will be the first one in Dadra and Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu since its merger as a single entity. Election Desk, DD India. Well, the smallest state of India, Goa, goes to polls in the third phase of India's general election on the 7th of this month. Goa celebrates 2 Independence Days and is home to India's only legitimate two-wheeler taxis. The coastal state has the highest per capita income in India, and Goa is the Western Indian state where the nightlife never ends. Let's take a deep dive and explore why Goa matters as India decides in 2024.
Blessed with beaches and mountains, the coastal Indian state of Goa is a major domestic and international tourism hub, well known for its old churches and Portuguese villas. Once a union territory, Goa became India's smallest state in 1987, spread over an area of 3,700 square kilometers. Panaji is its administrative capital. Located in the Konkan region by the Arabian Sea, the state was ruled by the Portuguese for over 4 centuries until its liberation and annexation by India in 1961. The state is also home to several historical sites, including the churches and convents of Old Goa, which were declared a World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 1986. In the 2024 general elections, the state, which has 2 seats in the Lok Sabha, or the lower house of the Indian Parliament, is going to the polls in a single phase on May 7. Goa has over 1.1 million voters, out of which 0.5 million are men, 0.6 million are women, while 3 people belong to the third gender. The state is governed by the Bharatiya Janata Party-led National Democratic Alliance. Other prominent parties include the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party. In the 2019 general elections in Goa, the BJP and the Congress bagged 1 seat each. Although there are other regional political parties along with the Aam Aadmi Party in the fray, Goa is witnessing a close contest between the 2 arch rivals, the BJP and the Congress, in the 2024 polls.
Well, in business news, the U.S. Federal Reserve has held interest rates at a 23-year high amid stubborn cost of living increases. The central bank on Wednesday kept the benchmark lending rate at 5.25 to 5.50% after a series of economic reports indicated that inflation was easing at a slower pace than hoped. Fed Chair Jerome Powell said U.S. central bankers still believe the current policy rate is putting enough pressure on economic activity to bring inflation under control.
Progress toward our dual mandate objectives. Inflation has eased substantially over the past year, while the labor market has remained strong. And that's very good news. But inflation is still too high. Further progress in bringing it down is not assured, and the path forward is uncertain. We are fully committed to returning inflation to our 2% goal.
Well, on to sports news now. Italian top seed Jannik Sinner pulled out of the Madrid Open on Wednesday due to a right hip injury. The world number 2 was due to face Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime in the quarterfinals on Thursday. Sinner was expected to play in Rome before the French Open begins later this month. Early on Tuesday, the reigning Australian Open champion fought from a set down to beat Russia's Karen Khachanov 5-7, 6-3, 6-3 in the last 16. And Borussia Dortmund's Niklas Füllkrug fired in a first-half goal to seal a 1-0 victory over visitors Paris Saint-Germain in their Champions League semi-final first leg on Wednesday. Nico Schlotterbeck floated a pass into Füllkrug's path and the Germany forward controlled the ball with a perfect first touch in the 36th minute. Meanwhile, PSG improved after the break and had a golden double chance in the 51st minute, but twice hit the woodwork through Kylian Mbappe and Achraf Hakimi on the rebound. The winners of the tie will face either Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, who drew 2-2 in Tuesday's first leg in Germany. And Punjab Kings beat Chennai Super Kings by 7 wickets on Wednesday to keep their slim payoff hopes alive in the Indian Premier League 2024. Chasing a target of 163, Johnny Bairstow's 46 of 30 and Riller Rossov's 43 of 23 helped PBKS reach home in 17.5 overs. Earlier, Ruturaj Gaikwad posed 62 of 48 to lead CSK to 162 for 7 after getting an invitation to bat first. Meanwhile, Rahul Chahar and Harpreet Barar were the pick of the bowlers for Punjab. MS Dhoni was run out on the final ball of the innings, which saw him being dismissed for the first time this season. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.